Welcome back to Sports Legends of the Carolinas, and thank you for subscribing. I'm your host, Scott Fowler, and on this podcast, we speak with some of my favorite sports icons from the region I've covered for almost 30 years.
Here's Ford. Quickly to the attacks.
Well, that's the play of the game for sure. What a tremendous move by Phil Ford.
Phil Ford was a lot of things for UNC. The 1978 National Player of the Year for one, a longtime assistant basketball coach at UNC, and also the point guard who made the Four Corners famous.
You know, this was a great time in my life, four of the best years of my life. Still have those friendships until this day. Great times, great place, Chapel Hill. It's just, I was very fortunate that I chose the right school for me.
Thanks again for supporting this work. Here's the rest of our conversation. So this is a story you don't know, Phil, and let me just lay it out for you. It's a good story. So my wife and I both went here in the 80s, and I didn't know her at the time. We met much later, but to help get through school, she worked at Four Corners. Oh, yeah. Four Corners being a restaurant that's still around today for those who haven't been in Chapel Hill. It's been around forever, and it was, I don't know if it was new when you were coming. Was it around when you were there?
I think it opened up in like 78, 79.
Okay. Okay. So right around the time. So they named it, obviously for Dean Smith's innovation that you, and I think a picture of you was outside, and there was a sandwich named for you too, called the Fabulous Phil, I think, right? So the way my wife Elise tells it, you came in there one day, and I assume you liked that sandwich, or they wouldn't have named it for you, right? Though I guess. She said you were super nice, and she waited on you. This is, she's in her 20s, and that when you wanted to order the Fabulous Phil, but that you were sort of reticent about saying the name out loud, like a little bit embarrassed, and you just pointed at the menu. I think it was
like some type of ham and cheese, if I remember. I love ham and cheese. Yeah.
And some sort of mayonnaise concoction or something. Does that sound legitimate?
I would love that.
Yeah. So did you sort of create the Fabulous Phil? Or
I don't know. I guess somehow they knew that I liked that ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, the sandwiches used to be named for players.
Right.
I don't know if they still are or not, but yes. Were you a frequenter of Four Corners restaurant? Was
some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She served Dean Smith in there too one time. I think it did it at a different time. You talked about loving this place so much. Your best team season was 77. Do you ever think about that game? I mean,
only
game, so close.
Only game I still have nightmares about.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think you have to.
Yeah.
If anybody ever doubts Coach Smith, I think you take my freshman year and you take my junior year, and I think that shows how great of a coach he was. Number one, my freshman year, we still had the Big Four tournament in December in Greensboro, and we lost 2 games. We came in last. But at the end of the year, we won the ACC tournament. I mean, we went from being the worst team in the Triangle to the best team in the league in 3 months, 2 months. And then my junior year, and you can't put it on it because injuries are part of the game. But, my gosh, you have Walter with a broken finger, and Tommy LaGarde can't even dress out because of an ACL, and I have an elbow issue, and O'Corn has an ankle injury. So for him to even get that team to the final game is just an amazing feat.
Why do you have nightmares about the game itself?
We were so close, and like I said, to me, in a sport like basketball, individual honors are great. And don't get me wrong, I'm honored, and I know that I wouldn't have achieved anything without the coaching staff and without my teammates. But the ultimate is to be a national champion, and to be so close to that, and I know I tell Joe Barry all the time that I trade him my number in the rafters for his national title. He goes, no, won't do that.
But speaking of things you did win, tell me about the 1976 Olympic experience.
That was a great experience. Coach Smith, Coach Guthries were the coaches, along with Coach Thompson. And again, Coach Smith took 12 players, a new team to play against players and older men, pros that had been playing together for years. And as the summer went on, as a team, we just kept getting better and better. We kept improving and won the gold medal, which a lot of people thought we weren't going to do. It
was, and that was in Montreal?
Montreal, Canada.
Montreal, yeah. And what was it, Russia? That was 4 years after the super controversial finish, too, right?
Yeah,
so there was
Munich.
Something else probably. Did y'all have any close games in that?
Yes, Puerto Rico, Butch Lee.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Butch Lee killed us, and the other guard in the backcourt killed us. I think we won by 1 or 2.
Well, like you say, you always need one of those, right? Who was? Did you started? I assume on that team. Who were the other 4 starters on that '76 Olympic team?
Quinn Buckner, Scott May, Adrian Dantley, and Mitch Kupchak. But it was more. We started, but everybody mostly played.
He played a lot of people, because you could only have 12, right? And he caught some heat at the time, if I remember.
Because we had 4
of the Tar Heels,
right? Kupchak, Lagarde, Davis, and myself, and then we had 3 other guys from the ACC: Tate Armstrong from Duke, Kenny Carr from State, and Steve Shepard from Maryland. So that was 7 ACC guys. Then we had 2 from Indiana, Scott May.
Right. Which had won the national championship.
And Quinn Buckner. And I'm glad we had Scott May because I think that may have had something to do with us getting his son here in Carolina later, And then, of course, Dantley, Ernie Grunfeld, and Phil Hubbard were the other 3.
It's that's a pretty strong team.
Yeah, it was. It was. And guys that would play together and listen and do what Coach Smith said.
Who was the best college player when you were in college that you played against or guarded?
Oh, it's so many, Scott. I can't name one. I mean, I just think in our league every night you were going up against a really good player.
David Thompson intersected with you a little bit, right?
He's a different breed of animal. Yeah, DT. When you start talking about DT and Michael and Sampson, those guys, they were just unbelievable, And to this day, it's hard to beat DT and MJ and Ralph in this league.
Right. Well, and they all played at least 3 years. And it's not like that anymore. I wonder what your thoughts are of college sports nowadays, particularly what's happening with the NIL and the transfer portal.
I'm happy that student athletes are being able to get paid. I just hope, it doesn't completely destroy college athletics as we know it, but maybe time to do that. I don't know. I've never done any research and studies on it, but I'm happy that they're able to make some money on their likeness and images and everything. And the transfer rule, I have to accept it. I have to get used to it, but I'm sure the people that put it in college basketball thought about it, and if they think it's best for the student athlete, then I understand, but sometimes you still got to coach guys. Yeah. And it's the easy way out, but we'll see. I think it's too early to really tell on both of them.
When you were playing, could y'all get laundry money back then?
Yeah, they did, and then they stopped it. Like I think Walter was able to get it all the way through, but I think it cut out my
wasn't much, like
$30 every month or something.
Yeah. Walter was Hubert's, for those who don't know, Walter was Hubert's uncle.
Right. Hubert's dad, Hubert Sr., and Walter are brothers.
Okay, right. What was the loudest environment you played in the ACC at that time? Was it State? I mean, wasn't State?
Carmichael and State.
Carmichael, of course, but like road environment, I should ask.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I have Derek Wittenberg always laughing now at the time I tell him the song that I hate most in my life, and as a Christian, I don't hate, but if I had to hate, so man, those guys get to playing that thing in Reynolds, and you talk about it got loud, and I remember a kid, and they had this, I don't know if you remember that light they had that they said
the noise meter.
Yeah. And with somebody in the back controlling that.
Oh, totally. It was all a farce. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had some good. So that was Valvano era, right?
Well, when I was there, it was Coach Sloan.
Oh, right. Of course, yes. Coach Sloan. They won the '74 national championship.
My senior year in high school, they won the national title.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever consider them seriously?
That was if I hadn't come to North Carolina, I was going to state.
Really, with Sloan? Was it close or not really?
I grew up a Carolina fan when Charles Scott enrolled here. That's when I really started following North Carolina basketball. And
the first African American scholarship player.
Right.
Charlie Scott with a circus shot.
I am very proud to be an alumnus of the University of North Carolina. But more importantly, I am very proud to be standing up here as a black man that took a path that wasn't easy, but was the right path to take. Thank you.
And I was 6th, 7th, 8th grade in there. And from that time on, I was going to be the next Charlie Scott. Matter of fact, teachers at my elementary school and junior high school would, use Charlie as an example because she knew all of us loved Charlie Scott, all the little kids. And, we didn't do something. I bet Charlie Scott wouldn't do that.
Really?
I bet Charlie Scott wouldn't be talking in class, Yeah.
Duke was just coming on then, weren't they? Like in '78, I guess they made the national title.
Right,
I remember. Yeah.
With Gene Banks, a great friend, Kennedy Denard, great friend, Spinarca, great friend.
They're all, you keep up with a lot of these guys, don't you?
Yeah.
You're pretty, sounds like you're pretty in tune with sort of like the former ACC legend sort of life.
I think as players, Skip Brown, as players, we kind of get along. We like each other. I think it's the respect of what you went through and who you are and how much fun we had together. But it's the fans that kind of take it to another level. But
right.
That's all good.
What was your favorite? Do you have a single favorite game that you played at
everyone that we won.
That was a bunch of them. Yeah.
Everyone that we won, I enjoyed.
Did you? I've heard different. I know Coach Smith treated people in different ways, and I don't mean badly. I just mean like I remember Bobby Jones telling me a story one time that Dean asked him into his office early and said, "Bobby, are you the type of player I need to yell at?" And he said, "No." And so he said, and he never yelled at me in 4 years. But I know in other cases, Bobby says other guys were treated, Dean did need to nudge them along a little bit. What was your relationship like with him?
He could say something to me, and John Kuster and I were roommates, suite mates. And I think it was when Q was a senior and I was a junior. Something happened, and Q says it's my fault. I say it's his fault. Both of us had our hands on the ball or something, and we lost it, and it went out of bounds.
Okay.
And Coach just looked at us like he was shocked, so surprised. How could you two do this? And he just shook his head and blew the whistle and pointed the other way. And Q and I talked about that play the whole night, man. It was like he had sworn at us,
Just the shake of the head.
Trying to figure out what the word, and that never happened again. But
you fumbled the ball out of bounds. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Q and I had our hands on the ball.
I see.
And it went out of bounds. And Q and I were the best ball handlers on the team.
Right.
And Coach didn't say a word. He just kind of shook his head like, how did that happen, with you two? And the ball went out of bounds. And
like you say, like a disappointed father, right? Like he was just so. Yeah. So you are 66 now, I think. You look much younger. But tell me, how do you keep busy these days?
I on the speakers tour a little, not a whole lot. That's mainly it. Appearances every now and then, but I'm on a couple of boards that keep me busy. Trying to help a couple of organizations stay afloat. So I stay busy.
Do you have any grandchildren yet?
Got 3 grandbabies.
Oh, nice.
I'm lucky that I'm going to be speaking at my grandbabies. My oldest child's 5th grade graduation next Tuesday in Charlotte.
Awesome. Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's fun.
I understand that she's going to introduce me And I was telling my daughter, my son, I hope I don't cry.
Yes, right. You might. That sounds a little nerve-wracking. That's a heavy dose of cuteness there. When you finished your career here, and we'll end up we're almost done here, but isn't it true that when you finished in 1978, y'all lost? In that case, you didn't get as far. Lost early in the NCAA tournament. And then you didn't take the tape off your ankles for a while?
Oh, a couple of days. That's the stupidest thing I think I've ever done in my life. I don't know. I didn't get gangrene or something. But, I just didn't want to leave. This was a great, great time in my life. 4 of the best years of my life. I was just here. All of a sudden, I get a phone call from Kupchak, Lagarde, Hammer, Dave Hanners, and Walton, and still have those friendships until this day. Great times, great place, Chapel Hill. It's just I was very fortunate that I chose the right school for me.
Like Roy Williams used to say, not a 4-year commitment, it's a 40-year commitment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's wonderful, Phil. Thank you so much for appearing on Sports Legends of the Carolinas.
Scott, anything for you. I think you got this call.
Well, it's always a wonderful pleasure to talk to you.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you again for subscribing and supporting local journalism. Next.
This is Jay Billis of ESPN, and I'm the next guest on Sports Legends of the Carolinas, which is a blistering indictment of Sports Legends of the Carolinas.
I'm Scott Fowler, and this is Sports Legends of the Carolinas. This show is produced by Jeff Seiner and Cotta Stevens, and the director of audio at McClatchy is Davin Coburn. For lots more content and to continue supporting this kind of work, please visit charlotteobserver.com/sportslegends and consider a digital subscription. Connect with me on Twitter at Scott_Fowler or by email at sfowler@charlotteobserver.com. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, please share with a friend. See you next week.